What is up, guys? Welcome back to the PMM channel. Today we got a video talking about the different stock options as well as mounting for them. We're going to go over it on a few different rifles and setups that we like to use. Alright, so to start things off, we're going to talk about the first stock that we ever made. This is the ULSS, or ultralight skeleton stock. This is a shorter overall footprint, kind of designed for PDW stuff. This works great on like a little MP5K or like a Rattler, for example. They've been updated a little bit over the years. We'll talk about that, but that's the first option that we have. Now, the next one we have is kind of its big brother. This is what's known as the Kate Moss. Kind of takes on the name that a original Sig production skeleton stock did. They've since discontinued that, so we reimagined it a little bit, updated it to how we wanted it to be. We've offered this for the last few years. This is a great option for the MCX, as well as really anything that you can put a Sig style hinge on. So really any gun with a 1913 backplate for it. So before we start hopping into different examples on rifles, all of this architecture is based on the Sig Hinge. So this is an original Sig Hinge where it just, friction fold open, but it is the footprint for their stock is what we went off of. So if you already have an MCX or something, or you can also buy these on their own, our stocks will attach to this, as well as the new versions that have the push button lock, which is actually the preferred setup that we like. But as far as I know, there's a couple other hinges out there that have this same footprint, but I can't speak to what bolt they use. So as long as they have the same geometry for a Sig stock to go in, our stocks will work. So hopping back to the ULSS here, I've got an MPX-K, for example, with actually an original production ULSS stock on it. This is definitely the intended use for this stock. Much shorter length of pull. Keeps the whole thing low profile, whether it's folded or not. So it's going to be a little bit more of a tight package. Not going to be something similar to like your AR-15 or a full-size rifle. But this is really the bread and butter, the size gun that you're going to want to put a ULSS on. Or if you're just a smaller guy and you don't like a longer length of pull, this is a great option for you. So getting into the features of the stock a little bit, you've got a locking QD, so an anti-rotational tab on either side of the stock back here for your sling mounting options, as well as you have two just standard M-lock slots across the top. So what we do with that is actually you can mount our cheek riser that we make. We've got 3 different heights to kind of make it work for you, but also you have the option of just putting like an M-lock rail cover on there, so you're not cheek just to bare aluminum, especially if you're in a place where it's either gets super hot or super cold in the winter. It's nice to have like a little M-lock. We like the Magpul rubberized ones. So that is the ULSS option. So hopping back into the Kate Moss, here is our shop MCX. This is a great example of how you would want to set this up. So you got your factory Sig Hinge on this gun. Just attaches, still folds nice and smooth, keeps it nice and low profile. In this case, we've got a little bit taller optic on this gun, so a good showcase of how we use the M-lock slots on the top of our stocks. This is what I believe is a medium version of our cheek riser. So that bolts right on. It's super solid. It's not going to pop off on you. And it gives you a nice reference point to use with your optic. Again, this is going to be a little bit longer length of pull. Also, it's a little taller for the butt pad, so just a little bit more engagement in the shoulder pocket. And these actually use a factory Sig butt pad versus a one that we had custom made for the ULSS. This is going to be your more popular option for like a full-size rifle, whether it be on an MCX, a SCAR, a PSA Jackal, really anything that you can mount a hinge on. It's just going to be more akin to your standard length of pull that you're used to. So we've got another gun here. This is a SCAR 16 10-inch barrel gun. Has another Kate Moss on it. This one actually just has the rail covers that we're talking about. So just a nice little sleek setup to have some pad there for your face. But also hopping into our next subject with stocks is the different mounting solutions that we have. So this is our 1913 backplate for the Scar. This will work on the 15P, the 16, the 17, and even the 20 if you wanted to swap it out for a different stock. Now what sets this apart from other options on the market is going to actually be our mid plate here. So we'll grab this one here just to show you. A lot of the options out there are going to be a full metal piece, usually just aluminum. And that sounds like a good idea. It's completely strong, like you're not going to bust the stock off or anything. The problem is the factory stock that also has a plastic piece for the actual mounting of the rifle is considered part of the buffer system by FN. So if you swap that out for a more rigid material, you're actually introducing a variable into your gun that's going to cause a lot more, bounce and energy deflection into parts of the gun that it shouldn't go into. That's where you're going to see a lot of your canned receiver bolts and some possible recoil impulse differences. So we stuck with a flexible material. It's the same material that FN uses on the factory components, so that's what sets ours apart. Now another cool thing about using that 1913 backplate is you get height adjustability with your stock. So a lot of guys will want to run different height optic setups. This gives you some adjustability in where your optic actually lines up with your eyes when the rifle is shouldered, but keeps your optic in a known position as far as the height over bore. Especially on the Scar, it gets kind of wonky with how high up everything sits. So you can run a lower mount and just move your stock further down, and you'll get the same effect as running a higher optic mount without the downside of having it be further away from the bore. So you've got some vertical adjustability to get it to where you want, especially depending on the different types of stocks that you might put on this piece, which is a decent segue into this piece here. This is our buffer tube adapter. It's just an aluminum piece that is threaded for a standard AR-15 buffer and will interface again with a Sig style hinge. So if we go ahead and grab this Scar 17 here, you can see we've got a fully length adjustable AR-15 buffer tube on here. It's going to use your standard castle nuts. The only difference being is this being aluminum, you don't want to stake it into the castle nut. You'll just want to use a Loctite on there. But this gives you infinite adjustability as far as the kind of stock you want to put on here, length of pull. You can even run some of those longer buffer tubes and get it even longer if you want. Run any sort of like a B5 PRS style stock. It gives you tons of different options. And this will work, again, not just on a Scar, but anything that you can put a Sig Hinge on. So you want to run an AR-15 stock on an MP5 or something, you can do that. Also, just as a quick note, we do offer the new style Sig Hinges with the button release on our website. So you can bundle all this stuff if you want. If you just want the hinge and a stock, you can do that. You want the hinge, a buffer tube adapter, and a backplate. You can kind of mix and match, get everything going, so you have your whole mounting solution for whatever gun that you've got. So guys, that wraps up our different stock and stock mounting options that we currently manufacture. If you have any questions, shoot us an email over at customerservice@parkermountainmachine.com. Like if you have any length of pull questions or weight or something you don't see on the website, we'll be happy to help. If you like the video, go ahead, hit the like button. Subscribe to stay up to date with things we got going on in the future. I've been your host, Travis. We'll catch you in the next one.